with you wherever you go. Just find WICC in the App Store. You're listening to Melissa in the Morning on WICC 600 AM and 107.3 FM.
You've heard me talking about this for the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to have back on the show with us Bill Leavitt this morning. And Bill is the founder and principal advisor for Bridgelight Advisors, and we have their big event happening actually later this month at Il Palio in Shelton. It is Taxes and Retirement. It's a great opportunity for you to go check this out on either January 23rd or 25th. But before we talk more about the event, let's chat with Bill about the upcoming tax season. Hey, Bill, Happy New Year, first of all. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Melissa. Happy New Year to you, too.
I'm so glad to have you back on the show. I've missed you. Tell us, if you don't mind, what are the tax changes impacting Americans in 2 years? Well,
you know, the tax law is changing, and I don't think many Americans realize that's going to happen. And the current tax bill that we live under, which is the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, that was passed by Congress and President Trump in 2017, saw some of the biggest tax rate reductions in a generation for Americans. And in 2 years, in 2026, that bill is set to sunset and revert back to a much higher tax environment. And I don't think Americans are prepared for that. I don't think they realize the impact of it. Mm-hmm. And they must do the planning necessary in advance to prepare for it.
Okay. I mean, it's another reason, of course, why you should go to, for example, the event we're talking about, which we'll get to in a second. But tell me, if you don't mind, Bill, how does the new Secure Act 2.0 affect taxes on your retirement savings?
Well, that was another act passed by Congress, and it was passed a few years ago. In 2022, they did something called the Secure Act 2.0, and it made major changes to retirement savings and the ability for Americans to save and how they're doing it inside of traditional 401ks, IRAs, and other retirement accounts. And as much as there's some really good things in there, there's some major changes that are really significant. And I think that especially people who are going into the retirement phase of life or are retired, they need to understand the real impact on the taxation on their retirement savings. And so, for instance, Melissa, when one gets to a certain age, which now is age 73, the government forces them to take what we consider to be forced income out of their retirement savings.
Really?
Yes, and they may not want it, they may not need it, but it increases their gross income and taxes, and so the government.
Can you avoid that, or no?
No, you can't. So
that's
you
awful.
you typically have a retirement savings account, and you put money in there, and it grows tax deferred. But eventually, you have to pay the piper, and
I don't like
that's
that.
what they require you to do. Mm-hmm. So. That has changed significantly in terms of delaying, if you will. They pushed the age up from 70 to 72 to 73, and for some people it's going to be 75, and you would think that waiting would be a good thing. But it turns out our calculations show that Americans are going to be forced to take out even more money than they thought they were going to, which is essentially at later points in life going to drive up taxation on them.
Ugh.
And that's just one part of this tax bill, and I can talk about more of it if you'd like.
Wow. I mean, so, what I'm gathering from you, Bill, is that there's a lot of changes coming, and maybe one of the things is that people don't even realize what the substantial impact is going to be. So even if they had maybe they've done tax strategies in the past, they may not even be as effective as they thought they initially would be. I mean, is that correct? Is that fair in saying, like, let's say you came up with some kind of savings strategy 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that could be very different from what you now are portraying is going to happen.
Absolutely. And because of these laws keep changing and the dynamics of them change, one must continue to adjust their planning and preparation. Sometimes I wonder why Americans don't take the taxation on their money more seriously. They work hard, they save it, but they don't realize how much taxation they're going to have when they get into retirement. And that has a big impact on the longevity of their ability to sustain themselves throughout the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true. So again, we have Bill Leavitt here, who is the founder of Bridgelight Advisors, Bridgelight Financial Advisors, and they actually have an event where you can really dive into the specifics of what Bill is talking about and make sure that you are prepared for retirement and the taxes that go along with those years of your life. In fact, that event is happening at El Palio in Shelton, and Taxes in Retirement is going on January 23rd and 25th at 6:30 p.m., and you can register on their website. Bill, for people who are just wondering if they should go or not, give us the reason why they should go to one of these events.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with they need to understand the knowledge and information that will be necessary for them to make good decisions, for them to have a good, safe, and secure retirement. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk through all those kind of things. We're going to discuss the mistakes that we see people typically make when they're approaching retirement or in retirement, and give them a lot of tools, if you will, to help them be successful.
Which is super important. So again, if you want to register today, highly recommend it. Go to bridgelightadvisors.com and register for the Taxes in Retirement event, either January 23rd or 25th at 6:30 p.m. at El Palio in Shelton. Bill, thank you so much for all that you do, and I look forward to chatting with you again really soon.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Of course. Bill Leavitt, again, the founder and principal advisor for Bridgelight Financial Advisors. Go online to bridgelightadvisors.com and register for their Taxes in Retirement event later this month, January 23rd or 25th at 6:30 p.m. at El Palio in Shelton. Coming up, it's the Lisa Wexler Show.